Hi everyone, I hope we are doing well today. So here is just the solution to the mini project. So of course we have this file, the PDF containing the instructions, and then we have our Excel workbook. So I'll just go step by step and then try to do this very quickly. So the first instruction is to open the workbook. We already did that. And then use the result sheet to complete the following. So in cell A2, I'm asked to input student name and add 6 names, A3 to A8 as shown below. So I'm just going to add student name here, student name, and then just to save my time, I'm going to be copying and pasting from what I have. Okay, so I have this, and then I need to enter the 4 courses from here, B2. So again, I'm just going to copy this from here. Okay, so we can see that there's no space, so I need to just increase the space. And then we are asked to copy the result as we have in the chart. So I'm just going to copy and paste that as well. Okay, and then we are asked to merge this and then have student result. Okay, and then we are asked to format this. So background should be black, and then the font should be white. So pretty much easy. So we have to bold it as well. We are asked to bold all these ones as well, and then we are asked to bold this. Okay, and then at H2 to K2, we are asked to insert this again. So I guess it should be this. Just copying from my notebook. So again, this space keeps keep happening. So I think preferably we might just want to click on this, and then that is going to really set everything. But this is looking a bit small, so maybe I can just choose to do it manually, then just try to expand this. So now we are asked to, if we check our sheet, we are asked to write a formula to check the score of students per subject and return grades as follows. So if the student score is greater than 90, then return A. If it is greater than or equals to 70 but less than 90, so that's between 70 and 90, then return B, and so on. So I'm just going to write a formula. I think I showed you this in the illustration in the walkthrough. So if the score here, because we are doing for Matt and James, if this is greater than or equals to 90, I want you to return an A. So I'm just going to write my formula here, the formula bar. Otherwise, so the first now will be if B3 again is greater than or equals to 70, then I want it to return a B. Oops, sorry about that. I'm just trying to return a B, and then if again B3 is greater than or equals to 50, and then return a C, right? Otherwise, if none of these criteria are met, so return an F. So you want to close that out. So we've opened 3 brackets, so we have to close 3 times, and then we have our answer. So we see that 72 actually falls under the B category, and then when we drag this down, we see exactly what we have. You can confirm that, and then you can drag it here as well. So everything is going to work out because this is like the reference, so it's going to work straight up. So the next thing we have to do is to merge these cells. I think we should have done that before, but it's okay. So I'm going to merge these guys, and then we have to format it blue, I think, and then we should have student grade as the name there, student's grade. Okay, we need to format this as white and then bold it, yeah, based on the instruction. So now we scroll, and you'll notice that at this point we are also asked to create from H1. Okay, we already did this, and now we are asked to create another merge N1 to Q1 and name it student group point. So N1 to Q1, I go again, so this is N1 to Q1. I'm asked to merge and then name it student grade point. So student grade point, and then the format should be green background, and then white, and then bold as well. And then what's the next thing? We are asked to now it said at this point the data is probably too wide for the screen. Yeah, so let the first column student name be fixed. So you would see that as we scrolled across the sheet, we are already losing track of whose students record we are looking at. So we would definitely want to keep this fixed. And the way to do that, of course, you know that by now. You go to data, view, and then you will find freeze pane. So in the freeze pane, we have different options. So we want to freeze this first column. So we're going to choose this one. So once we do that, even as we go to the right, you would see that it's still fixed. So we can actually know whose students record we are tracking. So that's actually what it was asking us to do. So, and then we are asked to give the student name the student name column an orange background with white font. So we need to give this an orange background. So I'm going to go back here. Orange. I don't know what orange is, to be honest. Okay, but I think it is orange. Does it look like the orange I used? I don't know. This is also another orange, so I think this is the one I used. And then the white font. Yeah. So input the subject name again, T2 to W2. So subject name again, these subjects. Yeah, I hope we have not missed any step. T2, this is T2 to W2. Yeah, I think we missed a step now, so let me track it back. We did not complete what was supposed to be done here. So yeah, so this is the step we missed. So input the subject name at N2 to NQ2. We already did that. So what we want to do now is write the formula. There's no mistake. So to check the students per subject and return their grade. So for the N2 to Q2 column. So if it is A, then we return 5. If it is B, and so on. So let's take a look. I will do that. So here I'm going to, of course, have to add this here as the instruction said, and then I would come here. So I'm going to check this. So if it is A, we return 5. If it is B, that way. So again, if this value here is equals to, not greater than now, so if it is equals to A, we want to return 5. So we don't need to code 5 because 5 is a number, it's not a string. Else, again, since we have more than one condition, so if this same value again is equals to B, so B is a string, so we have to put that as B, then return a 4. Else, if this guy is a C, then return a 3, otherwise return 0. So once we do that, it's going to ask typo. We can see 4 indeed it is B. So when we drag down, we'll see that this is correct because F should be 0. Anything that is not ABC should be 0. So once we drag this down again and then drag it up out to the side, this one also needs to be dragged here. So we can see, just try to confirm randomly. So this is a B, it's correct as 4. This is a C, it's correct as 4. Check the 0, it's correct as F. So just once you do that verification, then we are good. So the next thing after we've done this now is to create a table N1 to Q1. So we already did that before, so which is like what gave back to this one. And then at this point the data is probably too wide, so we went ahead, you remember, so we skipped this previous step. So now that we've done that, so we want to continue from here. So we're asked to give this one a colon. Okay, we've done this as well. So now we're asked to input the subject name again at T2 to W2. So this is what I tried to do earlier. So I just put T2 to W2, the subject's name again, and then we are asked to assign the following unit to the subject. So from T3 to W3. So just beneath it, I believe. Yeah, T3 to W3. So we are asked to assign 4, 5, 4, 4. Is that the grade? Oh no. 4, 4, 4, 3, 2. Sorry. 4, 4, 3, and 2. Perfect. Okay. It all makes sense now. So we are asked to do what next? Create a table again, T1 to W1, and name it unit, and format the background to be yellow and black font. So that's from here to here. We'll definitely merge it together, and then name it unit, and then give it a yellow background as we saw, and then a black font. So we're just following the instruction, and then bold it. So once we do this, the next thing for us is to go back here. Now it says we should create a table. Input the subject name again at Z2 to AC2. So here now Z2 to AC2. So we are going to input the subject again, Z2 to AC2, just to confirm it's getting to AC2. Yeah. So we will expand this, and then we are asked to merge the cells Z1 to AC1 and name it student final point grade, and format background to be dark green and white font. So here we are asked to merge it, format to be green, and then white font, and then bold, of course. So I'm going to type what I have there. So this is what we have, and then what are we asked to do now? Format the background to okay. So write a formula to multiply the grade point of each student by the corresponding course unit in the units table. So what it's asking for is the grade point of each student. So this is the grade point. You have to look at the title. So this is the grade point of each student. We'll multiply it by this unit. So this multiplied by this. So we'll get the final grade point for this guy. This multiplied by this, we'll get the final grade point for this guy. This multiplied by this, and so on, and then it's going to continue that way. So let me do it. So we're going to have here will be equals to this multiplied by this, right? So we have 16. Now if we take it down, no, sorry, if I drag it down. Okay, so the thing is, at this point, if you do double click, it will not work. Someone asked this question on Discord, and if you're experiencing this, it's normal, because for autofill of double click to work, they have to be side by side. So if this column here was actually here, so I mean if this guy was actually somewhere here and I did that, it's going to work. But if they are not side by side, you will have to do it like by yourself. So that's what I'm going to do now. So here we can see that we have 0. So why are we having 0? Let's investigate. You already know, right? So we can see that this guy is correct, but this one keeps shifting. So what do we do to solve that? You know, right? So we are going to like lock it. So lock this, and then we can do this again. So because we've already done it before, so you can easily track what we are trying to do. So here you can see that it's still keeping this guy. So again, you can extend this here, but if you extend it, you will see that this guy is still like fixed. Can you see? So there's an issue, you know, we need this to be able to move when it goes this direction. So what does that tell you? We want the colon to change. It means that we need to release the colon and let the rows be fixed. So we're going to change this, remove the $sign in front of T, because we want T to change to U as we go in that direction. Do this first. Sorry. Do this first, and then go in this direction. And then we have the right answer. So which is 4 multiplied by 5. You can see it's now shifting because we did mixed reference. You already know this concept by now. So I'm going to drag, I don't know what's wrong with my mouse pad today, but so drag this down and then drag this one time. So just do everything at once. So you can confirm. So this is 0 times 2. Just if there's anything looking weird, just try to confirm that it is the right thing. So now we got our student final grade point. The next thing now for us to again we are asked to in cell AF2 impute grade point average GPA. That's in cell AF2. So this is AF2 here. So we're asked to input grade point average. I'm just going to copy that and paste it. Oops. F2 grade point average. So you can just expand that. And what else are we asked to do? Format the background to be dark green color and bold white. Ensure all characters are seen. So I already expanded it for all characters to be seen. So I just need to bold it by the instructions, background, and yeah, I think this is what we are asked to do, right? Okay, white. I'll change the font. So oh, I think I missed a step again. Okay, so this is the step I missed. So write a formula to multiply. I think we already did this, right? Okay, so I think I this step was not supposed to be here. It's supposed to be coming after this one, so no problem. I will probably give that clarification now on Discord. So what we need to do now is in cell AG2 input graduate. So let's look for AG2. This is AG2 here. This is where we have graduate, and then we are asked to do what again? Format background green color and bold white. So the same format as this guy. Alright, so this guy is actually supposed to be white. So since it's the same format, instead of having to do it again, I can just use format painter. I already showed you that last week as well. So we have something like this, and then we can come over here to in the cell AH1 impute 2.5. Format the background to be red color and bold white. So AH1, let's look for AH1. So this AH1 we're asked to input 2.5, and then format the background to be red and then white font. So I guess it has to be bold as well. Maybe make everything is like really bold. Yeah. So for each student, add all the final grade point from the courses and divide by the summation of all course unit. So add all the grade point from all courses. So we are asked to add these together. This is the final grade point, right? So it said final grade point. Yeah. Final grade point. So add all of them together and divide by the summation of all course units. So for this guy, the grade point is going to be sum of all of these numbers. So it means I'm going to write my sum of these numbers here, right? But that's not all. Divided by sum of this guy as well, right? So we have sum of this guy. So I'm going to write sum of these guys. So once I do that, I click on enter, and then I have my CGPA as you can see here for this guy. So you want to do it for the same for everything. So if I drag down, I expect an error, yeah, because if you click here, you can see this guy is already shifting, even though this is correct, but this is already shifting. So what do we have to do? You know that, right? So we have to just like lock this guy. So I'm going to highlight and click on F4. Click on F4 now, and then enter. So once I do this down, I have all of this. So that's when I believe this one comes in handy now. So format GPA to be 2 decimal place. So this is that's why I said that step should have actually come before, now after. So formatting to 2 decimal place, I showed you that last week as well. So you just reduce this to what you have now, and then what's the next thing? So we're asked to check. So write a formula to check if the student will graduate using yes if CGPA is greater than or equals to 2.5. So we will not just write 2.5. We're asked to reference the cell AH1. So I'm just going to write if this is greater than 2.5, so which is this, then return greater than or equals to, okay, yeah. So then return yes yes, so this is exactly what we have in the example I showed you. So once I drag this down, again everything is CS, but that's not true because 1.6 is not supposed to graduate, even 2.08, so it means something is wrong. So let me check. So we can see this guy is coming down. So what I have to do is to modify this formula. So I'm going to in the question, I think I should have given you guys Kani to ask if Kani will graduate, because maybe if we had done this wrongly, because Lydia will always give us yes anyway, so that would have been, probably some would have just picked Kani yes if they didn't do this correctly, but I hope you did anyway. So I'm going to log this guy because it's going to be our reference all through. So once I bring it down now, we can see these two are not going to graduate. So here are the CGPAs. If you got this in master, I think in the option this is there. I think this is also there for B now. Okay, so this is for task 1, I believe. So this is what you have. And then for task 2, I'll run very quickly. We're asked to create a new column after last name and give it a name, full name. So customer tab. So of course you can see a lot of things here are jam-packed. So first thing I want to do is to like give a space for everything. So let there be space. Let the colons breathe. Alright, so probably some of us got that joke, but it's fine. So yeah, I want to insert a new colon and give it a name. Give it the name as we ask, full name. So what I want to do is to join them together. So you know what to do, right? Concatenate, right? So you can use concat. This one, comma. We need a space, right? So we have to separate them by a space. So this one as well, comma, a space. Then this guy here. So we have this. So I need to increase this now. So once I drag this down, I see that I have this. So I think I need still more space again. So you can see we have that. It's done. Very simple, right? Okay, I'm sure you did that. So we also have to like extract the birth date from the year of birth from birth date. So again, insert a new column here, and then call it year of birth. So if you check, I told you to check online. So again, let me probably try to go online myself now, and let's see. So let's check extract year from date Excel. So once you check, oops, my internet is currently off. Okay, because of my recording. So let me turn it on very quickly. I hope it doesn't affect. Alright, so we have this one says that you can use year function, but the year function returns the year in a cell. So let's try that if it works. So let's try year function. So if we have year, so the issue here is this is not going, it's going to give us this, and this is a date column. It's a bit complicated actually. So I would not, you have to change it to text, because by default it came as a date. It will always come as a date, that function. So you need to like change it to a text. So if you check, I don't know if that tutorial explains it, but the better method that I use all the time is text function. So I don't know what method you found on the internet. So here is another solution. So this person used year, but for some reason they actually got the answer straight up, right? Okay, so that's where it gets tricky. So this is actually the better solution. Like this is the one I use a lot, the text function. Okay, so this helps. So I think it's about the format. So for you to use that year function, I think the format has to be this way. Yeah, so if the format is like this, then I think you can use the year function. But that's not the way we have our own, right? Our format, this is our format here. It is like this. So maybe that's why it's tricky and it's not working out. So what I normally would do, of course this method works. As you can see, you just have to, after doing that, it's in a date format, you change it to text. So but what I do is all the time is use the text function. Okay, so text, this is the value, and you can see it's asking for format text. So I want it to be formatted as year. So to do that, just say y. It means year. Okay, if you want to do for month, the same thing, just change the y to mmm. So mmm. So you have the month as well, September. So these are just things that you would find handy. So any of the method you use, the point is just to get the years. So I'm going to drag that down, and then you can see that we have all the years. Okay. All right. So and then the next thing is to create let me see. Okay, insert a new column after marital status and name it marital status full. So this is marital status. I'm inserting a new column after it, and then I'm naming it marital status full. So of course we have to change s to. So there are several ways you could do that. So but what I would do for me is to use if condition, right? So if this value is equals to s, then return single. Otherwise, since we have those two conditions, so single or married, you can first check just to be sure. Don't assume. So you can also have other marital status, but you can also check the options you have there. I'm going to show you that now. So now when I drag this down, you can see when it is end, it's married. So I talked about checking the options. There's something I'm not sure if I showed in your class yet, but definitely is one of the things I'm going to show you next week. So there's something called filter option. So you can actually find it from the data filter. You will see this guy. So this gives you a quick, you can use this to have a quick peek of what your data contains. So here now you can see all the years that we have, you know, so more like filter. We are going to talk about it more next week. But I don't come to data filter all the time. I use a shortcut. So let me go back to data, remove the filter, and then I use a shortcut Ctrl+Shift+L. Okay, because this particular filter thing is very important. So a lot of time you use it to just see an overview of a data, very quick one, to see, okay, what are the things that are in your data and your column. So here we can check, and we see that there are just two options. So if there was another option, we would have seen here and include that in our condition. I hope that's clear. Okay, so the next thing is to do for gender, the same thing. So gender full. If you use another method for this and you got the answer, that's also okay. So there's not a one-way thing. So if this is equals to m, then we want to return male, right? So otherwise, since again we have two options, so you could use that filter to check that. So we have female, and then I can drag this down. Okay, all right. So I hope you did all of these things. So you can see we need to probably give this guy space so that we can see all of these here. So what's the next thing? So change that. Then we have to insert a new column after email address and name it username. So, and how do we get the username? It is getting all the words before the @ So I think we did something exactly like this in our class. So insert here and call it username. Okay. So we want to get everything before this @. Of course, for this one, the @ is positioned at 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11. Character 11. Oops, sorry. So if we do left function, because I know you already think it's supposed to be left, which is right, and then we do number of characters 11. Okay, we should not include 11 because that's like the @ so it should be 10. So once we do this, we get clearance 37, which is right for the first one. But when we drag down, we can see now that it's different because we have different length for the characters. So we talked about that in our class. So we said, how do we do this? I hope you still remember. So we actually added the search function such that we will ask this guy to search for the search function, to search for the delimiter, which is here is @, and then wherever he finds it, he takes away 1 from it, and then we can get the rest. If you are not clear with this, if you are just watching this and you don't understand what I just said, just check out day 3. I think that's day 3 video, right? So we talked about this in detail. So I will be doing what now? So instead of using 10 here, I'll be using a search function. Okay, and inside of that search function, I'm looking for the @, right? and within, I'm looking for it within this guy, and then I'm going to take away 1, right? Oops, sorry. So, and then if I leave it like this, it will only stop at where this one, but I mean, just watch the video, you understand. So I'm going to take away 1 from this, and then I can close the bracket and click on enter. So once I do this again, this is still correct, but when I drag it down now, we'll see that we have every other thing before the @ sign. Okay, we've already done this before, so I don't think that's a big thing. Okay, so that's for username. And then the next thing is the annual colon. We have to format it to currency. So annual colon, this guy, so we have to format it to currency. So you already know that by now. So you can come over here, you can select this colon and then change that to currency. So we can have like dollars, right? Okay, makes sense. So we asked to, after annual income column, we should insert a new column called wealth category. So it should come after this guy. So it's going to be wealth category. So, and what are the conditions that we need to look at? So we should say it is wealthy if the annual income is greater than or equals to 150,000. It is rich if it is greater than or equals to 100,000, average, and so on. So similar to the having multiple criteria like the one we did earlier with the grades. So we are going to be doing the same thing. So it's going to be ifs inside of ifs. So we start. So if this guy is greater than or equals to, is it 100 or 150 now? Which one do we have first? 150,000. So if it is greater than or equals to 150,000, don't need to add the comma. Then what should we have? We'll say it's wealthy, right? So just going to say wealthy. Otherwise, so we have more than one condition. So again, to check the second one, otherwise if this value is greater than or equals to 100,000, I think, then we should say is what is rich. So otherwise, if this value is greater than or equals to, I think the next one is 50,000, right? I hope I'm right. We'll check it now. So if it's greater than or equals to 50,000, we should say it's average. So let's check. Yeah, average. So if this condition is not met, if all these conditions are not met, it means that it's definitely less than 50,000. So which is the last criteria. So, and then we are going to say it is what? Poor. Okay, once I click on enter. Okay, I think I made a mistake in my formula somewhere. I've done something wrong. So if this is this, then okay, I think I made a mistake from here. Let me cancel this place. So if it is true, if this value is true, then rich. Otherwise, if, I should have added an if. So if this guy now is greater than or equals to 50,000, then the value should be average. And then if none of these conditions are met, the value should be poor. Okay, and then once I click on enter, I have, so I can see that this guy is rich. Yeah, which makes sense because rich is supposed to be greater than or equals to 100,000, right? Greater than or equals to 100,000, but less than 150,000, right? So because 150,000 upward is where the wealthy guys start from. So once I drag this down, we can just try to confirm. So this is poor, 30,000 is less than 50,000, so which makes sense, right? So just want to do this. So the last thing, okay, I think that's all. So we were just asked to not forget the best practice. So we talked about that a lot in our classes. Whenever you create new columns, you should try to give them a distinct color so as to identify them. So I'm just going to click on all the columns that we newly created. So world category, username, gender full, marital status full, year of birth, and the full names. So I can give them any column that I want. I didn't specify, so I think this is too bright. So let me just give it something a bit dull. Oops, sorry. I think something a bit dull. Yeah, I think this is probably. Oh, this seems to be too dull. Yeah, I think this is better. Okay. So what's the next thing? The last one, the last task said create a new sheet and name it summary. So I'm going to create a new sheet and then I'm going to call this summary, and then inside of the summary tab we are asked to merge A1 to B1 and name it customer summary. So we have a picture here that helps. So customer summary A1 to B1, you merge it and name it customer summary. Okay, so I can zoom that in, and then we have has to format the background to be dark blue and dark green, and then so just format this. We've done this a lot today, so we should have mastered this by now. Okay, and then bold, right? So now enter the following beneath A1. So under A1 we are asked to make just as you can see, so that's a lot of typing, so I will just copy from what I have here on my end. Sorry, so I'm just going to copy them. I don't know what's wrong with my mouse today, but it seems to be acting up. So I'm going to copy what I have from my own work, and then I'm going to paste them here. This is where we should have them. So this needs to be seen, so I'm going to like expand it. So we have something like that there that says you make sure they are visible and bold. So now we are asked to, did I rename that sheet? Yeah, I renamed it to summary. So we are asked to, I'm not sure I showed you how to rename sheets, so but I expect that Google, but that's not difficult. Just double click on it or just right click and choose rename, but that's probably more stressful, so just double click will work. So compute the corresponding result beneath B1 and make sure they are visible and as bold as shown. So we want to get the following under B1. So from here, total customers, and the description of those things are here. So I talked about them also in the walkthrough. So I'll just be doing them. So the total number of customers, how many customers do we have in total? So that's, if you look at the customer database, so that's like the number of customers. So that tells you, well, you're doing what? Count. So you could count the customer key. Okay, so that's because customer key is what identifies each customer. So once I do that, I have 327. So that's your answer. So how many customers are born in 1956? So that's a conditional statement. Now let me show you the usefulness of this format, this filter. So let's assume it's not really like you have to write a formula for these and all of that. You can just actually use this. Thank God I didn't show you guys even before. Maybe some of you would have used this to answer the question without writing the formulas. Yeah, I know some people will. Some people are probably, because I did not ask you to submit your workbook, so some people probably might use this method to solve all the answers. So you can just filter out this guy, for instance, and look for 1956 here, and then you see. So how many customers do we have? 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. So there are 6 customers that are born in 1956. But that's not what I want you to do. I want you to write a formula to submit that. So 1956 is going to be count if, because it's based on the criteria now, right? So what do you want to count? I want to count the customers. Again, you can select all the customers, or you can select all this one, anyone you want to do. It will work. So this is the this is the range, and then the criteria is what? 1956, right? So, and then we have 6 customers, which is exactly the same thing. So you can use that trick, that filter pane, for everything actually, to answer all the questions. So just come over here, filter, come over here, filter, come over here, filter male, filter gender, and so on. But again, the formula is very important. So for single, you want to do count if also again. So count if the range is, this is it, this newly created range, and then your criteria is single, right? And then you have 166 people that are single. So for females, the same thing basically. So count if the criteria here is this guy. So you want to, one of the disadvantages of having to do all of this back and forth, or one way to solve this is probably to name the ranges. So once you name them, you know which one to call. Instead of going back and forth, you just type it. I think I showed you name range, right? So if you actually did that, you should be able to do that. It's really nice, but I'm just showing you this so as not to complicate things. That's what I would have done if I was working on this. So the total annual income, so that can be count, because now you want to find the total, so it has to be sum. So you are going to add up all the income that all of them are getting. So let's look for that column. This is the annual income column. So I'm going to shift down and then I press enter and I can see the answer 103 blah, 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 blah. I can also format this to dollar. I should have even included it in the question so that you can see, but it's fine. So now average annual income. So average again is very simple. So you just find the average of these same values that you have added here. So this same annual income. So that's the answer. Okay. And then how many people are rich? So the rich people now. So because we've already done rich before, right? So you can do count if again. So if your evaluation of the rich, wealthy, and all of that didn't work out, so this will definitely be wrong. So your rich, oh sorry, few arguments. So that's just the criteria range. So I need to input the range as well. The criteria, so which is 28. This is for rich, and then for high school, we will basically just check where we have high school. High school can be found in the education level. So this is like the same thing. Count if the range is this one, and then we want to find where it is high school. So high school here, then we have 98 people, the high school. So male bachelor, so these are like male and then bachelor, so two criteria. So we want to, you might be wondering, can this filter also work? Yeah, you can use it for more than one criteria. So let me show you. So you can check for male first, which is there, and select everything, choose only male, and then come over here and choose bachelors. Oh, so yeah, select everything and then bachelors. So how many do we have? So we can like just Control Shift down. We have 38 of them, as you can see. So this is a count option. I showed you that quick count option. So let's use the formula to see if we get that same answer. So male bachelor. So we have count is two criteria now. So the first criteria is the gender, and then the criteria range, and then the criteria. This case, there's no way it was written, so we have to write it by ourselves, but it was not typed. We cannot like use this option because it's going to be male bachelors together. So what we want to do is male, and then the second criteria range is for the work, so which is this one, education level, and then the criteria, we can go back here and type the criteria to be bachelor, again in quotes, bachelor. Is it bachelor or bachelors? So you have to confirm. If it's bachelor, let's confirm. I use bachelor, we add 0, so we can see it's bachelors, so S has to be there, and then we have 38, as you can see. Okay, so the next one is graduate degree, but let's not be confused or be tricked into thinking that we are looking for the count. It's saying average salary of graduate degree holder. So here is average, not count. So we are not doing count if, we'll be doing, you guessed right, average if, right? So we want to find the average if. So the range is like what you want to check. The criteria range, I already know. I made a mistake somewhere there. You can see how stressful this is, going up and down. So it would have been better to just name each of these columns, each of these ranges, using what's it called, the name range, or table is another option. But I know I've not taught you about not taught you anything about tables. Probably in the next week we'll see. So average. Now the next thing is the criteria, which is graduate degree, and then where is the average range? So what do you want to actually average? So you are looking for the income, right? So the average income for, so income is the average range. This is what you want to average, and then you click on enter. So once you do that, we have a division error, and I strongly believe that this has to do with perhaps graduate degree. So maybe it was not spelled correctly. So let's check that. So graduate degree, we actually have it spelled correctly. So average if, let me pause. Okay, so I don't know, but what I did, of course, this kind of thing when it happens, what you want to do is to confirm that you spelled your graduate degree correctly. So, and at the moment, is there any difference between these two guys? There's no difference, right? So, I just copied this now, which is the one I brought. I pasted it here again, and then we got our answer. I don't know. Maybe there was something wrong with the previous one. I don't understand. But there seems not to be any difference. Yeah. So I don't know. I can't explain that, to be honest. So you can see it's just issue with maybe I missed. Maybe there is some space in the one I copied, or maybe there were double spaces. Let me see in either of them or something like that. This kind of things happen. So these are like the, but I know getting that error, I know that it was issue with not finding graduate degree. So that's why I think when I was teaching about data validation and I was talking about removing duplicates, I explained that it's better to use that method than to manually type your stuff, because sometimes you can make mistakes. It could be like, and it might not be so easy to find. It's usually very difficult to find. So it's better you just, what you have on your data, bring it directly, so, and then use it for whatever thing you want to do. So that helps. So we can see that's actually what happened here. I actually don't know where the mistake is from. Perhaps what I typed, there was a space before it. I can't really give an explanation, to be honest. Also, let's just leave that. Anyways, the major thing is to get the formula. Okay, so now we'll do for professional and professional that earn more than 90,000, right? So according to what we have in the description. So what you want to do is, of course, two criteria now. So count ifs, right? So you want to check all the professionals here. These are the occupations. This is the range, and then the criteria is professional, right? Now the second criteria is this annual income, right? And then I select it, and then the criteria too is, now you might be tempted to say you want to say 90,000. If you do that, you only get customers that are professional and that earn 90k. So just to validate that, if I come using that filter option now, if I come to occupation and I choose only professional, and I come to annual income, I use 90,000 only, you can see we have how many people? 11 people. But that's not what we want. We want more than 90,000 people that earn at least 90,000. So in order to do that, which is why I said you should check Google. So if you actually got this right, I'm proud of you. So instead of using 90,000, you have to use something like greater than 90,000, because that's actually what you want, right? So, but the moment you use greater than 90,000, when you do something like this guy is no longer a number. You understand? It's no longer a number. So it makes this guy a string. So what you have to do is just put this in a string. It will be like that, greater than 90,000, but it will be as a string, because once you put any other thing about that, it's not a number, it changes from being a number to a string. So this is how you do it. So greater than 90,000, and then you select. So you can see that only this looks wrong. Greater than or equals to 90,000. 14. So we can see that 14 people actually earn greater than or equals to 90,000. I hope that is clear. So you can also validate that again. So once you come over here to professional, and then you come over here, you can see that if I check this now and I choose just 90,000 and 100,000, those are the only salaries available that are greater than 90,000. So you can see that 14 of them are actually the ones that earn that much. So you can see how I'm using that filter pane a lot now. In fact, this filter pane is like used for verification a lot in a real world setting, right? So anytime maybe there's a missing value or something they tell you about, just use it to check, just to investigate that everything you are doing is correct. And then the last one, very simple, is count ifs. Count if, I mean. So I want to count again the occupation if it is clerical. So my criteria here is going to be this, right? So we have 32 people that are clerical. And the last thing we're asked to do is to do data validation for this. So for this A13, so we want to be able to change from clerical to professional to and so on to other occupation. So we already did that the last class. So how do you know the distinct professions here or occupations here? So you can check them here: clerical, management, professional, and probably start typing manually. And I told you about, and we saw, thank God we saw an example where there could be a mistake in your typing. So best practice is to try to copy what you have originally and then come somewhere here, just anywhere here, paste it there, and then go to data, remove duplicate. Okay, so once you remove duplicate, you have this. So you just have these 4. So these are the 4 distinct values. So you can use this 4 now as your data validation. Okay, so I'm going to click here, as you know, and then I'll come over to data validation. The menu is looking different from the time I was teaching in the class. Why is that? Oh, okay, I'm on a wider screen. So there it was a smaller screen. So I guess that's why it's like it was really tight. So here we can see all of these things one time. So data validation, and then you already know you want to choose list. The source, this is the source, this guy's here. So I want to just select them as my source. I don't know why my mouse is just misbehaving like this. So let me click the first one and just use my Ctrl Shift down. And I click on OK. So once I do that, you can see that we already have this. So you can use this to switch if you want to the next one, as you can see. So that's what I asked to do, but what we initially had was clerical. So you can hide this now so that your people will not see it. We talked about this as well. So with this, we have come to the end of the project. I hope you managed to solve, if not all, at least most of the questions. With this video, anything that wasn't clear, I've been seeing some questions because I'm actually doing it right now while you guys are also doing yours. I'm making this video now, and I'm seeing some questions, and I'm glad that I addressed some of them already. Like the year issue with the year, some people were using the year function, and of course I already told them what to do, but now that you're watching, I already showed you another method. And if there's anything that you were having issues with, I hope you got your answers in this video. Of course, if you have any other question, you can always reach out on the Discord, and then we will talk. Thank you so much for watching this, and see you next week. Bye.